I should never have opened that door. I thought it was just a hidden storage space in my apartment, but now I'm seeing things that can't exist. If you keep listening, you'll know the truth, but you'll wish you didn't." End quote. I've lived in this building for 7 years. It's the kind of old, neglected brick complex where the walls seem to hold their breath at night. You can hear your neighbor's footsteps, the groaning of ancient pipes, and sometimes, just sometimes, a sound you can't quite place. Last Tuesday, during a rainstorm, my living room wall made a noise I'd never heard before. Not creaking, not dripping. It was knocking. 3 sharp taps, deliberate and patient. I pressed my ear to the wall, expecting to hear my neighbor, but the sound was hollow, like there was an empty space behind it. Which didn't make sense. My apartment was supposed to be the in unit. By morning, curiosity had already taken root in my mind like a splinter. I measured the wall's dimensions against the outside layout of the building. There should have been a narrow alley beyond that wall, but from the street, the brickwork looked continuous, seamless, as if no alley had ever existed. I tapped along the plaster until I found a spot that sounded thinner. A small fissure in the paint revealed a hidden seam, almost like a door frame. My hand shook as I pried at it with a screwdriver. With a soft crack, the plaster gave way, revealing a narrow wooden door. No knob, just a keyhole and an overwhelming smell of stale, cold air, like a place long forgotten. That night, I dreamed of a corridor, endless and flickering with shadows that stretched the wrong way. Something moved at the far end, just outside the reach of my sight. I woke with my bedsheets twisted tightly around me, heart pounding. The next evening, I returned to the wall with a chisel and hammer. Each strike echoed strangely, as though I were in a much larger space than my small apartment could contain. Finally, the wood splintered, and the door swung inward. What lay beyond was not an alley. It was a perfectly square, windowless room, maybe 10 feet across. The floor was made of dark stone slabs, slick with moisture. The air was cold enough to sting my lungs, and in the center stood a single chair facing the far wall. The wall opposite the door was wrong. It looked like stone at first, but it shimmered faintly, like oil on water. I thought I saw movement within it, shapes swirling, fading, returning. The moment I stepped inside, I heard it. A low, constant hum, deep enough to feel in my chest. Not mechanical, but alive. I don't know how long I stood there staring. At some point, I sat in the chair. Don't ask me why. It was as if my body decided for me. The hum grew louder, and the wall began to pulse. Images formed in its surface. Not reflections, memories. My memories. Childhood moments. Faces I hadn't thought of in decades. Then, the scenes shifted. I saw myself in places I'd never been, standing on a barren plain under a black sky, walking into an ocean that glowed from below, standing here, in this chair, but much, much older. Then, the figure appeared. It had no clear shape, just a tall, rippling distortion in the air, like heat above asphalt. But within it, I felt the weight of something ancient and incomprehensible, a mind so vast that mine seemed like a single grain of dust in comparison. When it spoke, it didn't use words. It pressed thoughts into me, visions, knowledge that felt both intoxicating and poisonous. I saw geometries that can't exist in our world, heard a language that made my bones ache, and then it asked me to stay. Not with a voice, but with the slow, curling certainty of inevitability. I tore myself from the chair and stumbled backward toward the door. The hum was deafening now, vibrating through every nerve. As I crossed the threshold, the cold air clung to me like a second skin. I slammed the door shut and covered it with whatever furniture I could find. I tried to sleep, but the dreams came again, more vivid, more insistent. I saw that figure in every one, standing at the edge of my vision, waiting. The next morning, the wall was solid again. No crack, no seam, no sign a door had ever been there. But the smell, the damp, ancient smell, still lingers in my apartment. And at night, when the rain begins to fall, I hear the knocking. 3 deliberate taps. Patient, waiting. If you've listened this far, you've already heard it knocking, haven't you? Next time you do, don't answer. And if you want to know what happens to those who do, subscribe. You'll find out soon enough.